Hey everybody, I haven't done a video in a long time, and I know, and it's my accountability and life gets in the way, but I had a friend today sent me a picture of her very first crochet, and I'm super excited for it, and I want to be an encouragement, and I need to be accountable for teaching. This is an art, and we're to teach one another. Here's your basics. Today, we're going to use an H 5mm. You need a yarny needle. If you don't have them right now, it's okay. Next time you go to Walmart, they're 4-pack for like $2 or $3. Stitch counter. If you do not have these, this is okay. You just can get away with the small paper clip. And a number 4 worsted weight yarn. And here we go. We're going back to the basics. We're going to do what they call a straight stitch, because the granny, to me, is the perfect first project. It is a great way just to get a feel for the stitches, and you're working in blocks of 3. So it is, but 95% of the rest of the projects in the crochet world, you have to go back and forth. So let's start. This is your tail. You're going to need to leave about 4 or 5 inches, because that's for yarning. This is your working yarn. This comes off the ball or the skein. Give yourself some, because you don't want the resistance from the skein. It'll distort your stitches. We're going to make a slip knot. Everybody has their own way of doing it. Regardless, it still comes out looking the same. Okay? Get this out of the way. Now, this is not a working yarn. This is the working loop. This is not a stitch. You need to make sure that this chain is loose. If you have the means to have an I or J hook, use it. Make your chain that way, especially if you've been like, look, Wendy, I've already done this before and it's super tight and I threw the hook across the yard or the room and I know I do it too tight. Well, go to a bigger hook and then you're going to come back to this one. Alright, yarn over. Now, you ready for my trick? Keep your eye right here. Yarn over. Did you see it move? And I'll even pull it super tight. Just a little pull allows the loop to get a little bigger as you pull it, giving a fluffier little stitch. We're going to do a swatch, and we can do this together. Let's do 10. You can go wider. I'm going to do 10. Scarf. Don't go any wider than a scarf length. So that could be 20 to 30 stitches. Wide, depending on how wide you want it. So I'm going to do 10. I'm going to do 10 with you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, it's weird, but work with me. You've done the length that you want. You need to add 3. 1, 2, 3. Alright, most patterns will tell you double crochet into the 4th loop. Remember, this doesn't count. This is your stitch 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. I work in the back hump, holding it straight, turn it to the back. See that hump? Now, there's a reason for that. It's always a reason. If you build into the front, the actual top of the chain, the complete stitch, from time to time, you lose a stitch or your chain begins to twist. When you work in that back hump, your chain automatically turns upside down. Okay, double crochet is a yarn over into the back hump, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over to 1. Okay. If your stitch is a little bit loose or you're not quite sure where to find it, you can actually use the hook to pull it and pick it up. And I do that. I have to do it from time to time, especially when working with acrylics, because acrylics like to split and snag. The better, more expensive, the better quality, the less it does split, but you will end up with splits in acrylic, and sometimes you have to use the actual hook to get yourself out of the hot mess. And sometimes it's just to move faster. Now, if I lost you, I'll come back and get you. Just hang tight. I'm sorry if I'm shaking the camera. You're at the chain. You're at the end of your chain. Right back to your slip knot. Well, that is still a stitch. And if it curls up a little bit, it's okay. We're going to straighten that out. Alright. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm not counting that chain 3 on any row but this one. So we're actually at 11 stitches. Take your paper clip or your stitch marker. This is the first chain, second chain, third one makes the stitch. Insert your stitch marker. Now, we're building. Go up, chain 2. 1, 2. Same rule applies. You do not want it super tight. We're going to turn the project. Turn. Yarn over. In the exact same stitch, do a double crochet. Stop. Put a stitch marker. In that B. Okay. Double crochet, yarn over into the stitch underneath of it, underneath both the front loop and the back loop. Yarn over and pull back through. You should have 3 loops. It shouldn't be tight like this. About halfway up. Yarn over, pull through 2. Gives you 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Next one, yarn over. Right underneath the stitch, both front and back loop. Yarn over, pull through. Now you have 3, yarn over. We should be able to move nice and easy, nice and smooth. If it's, you got to yank the hook, you've done it too tight. Okay. You'll find your own speed, you'll find your own pace. I can fly. But I've been doing it for 20 years. I cannot hold my yarn the way everybody else that does these videos. I've tried. I can't do it, and I'm not going to do it. Some people will lay the yarn across, and they'll pull from the index finger, and they'll control the tension of the yarn with their pinky. Technically, quote unquote, that is the correct way to do it. I can't. This works for me. But you need to hold the working yarn. There needs to be a tension. And 99% of the time, regardless of how you hold it, it's the pinky. Because if you don't hold it, your stitch is going to be too loose. It'll be, you have nothing to help you control it. If it's too tight, your stitches will become too tight and distorted. Now, we're back to our little stitch marker. Insert our hook. Okay. Yes, there is a loop here. Three different techniques. Yes, this one in the middle is ugly because I'm teaching this. We're going to do it the bottom 2 rows. When you do your chain and you go up, I only increase 2 chain. Most other people will say chain 3 and turn, but they're counting it as its first stitch. And when you begin to read patterns, it'll make sense. They will tell you if it counts or not. Yes, this bumps out a little bit, but when you put a border on it, this is so much cleaner and much more stable than actually chaining 3 and working in the same stitch. No, please don't. Now, the reason that I use my chain up as a builder is because I will lose stitches if I do it this way, which is chaining 3, and it counts as your first double crochet. So you would actually go into this one to build it with your hook. It's almost guaranteed you're going to lose your stitch. You're going to go from being perfectly square and you're on a roll, and then all of a sudden, just every so often, you're going to lose a stitch and it goes up here. And you know what? That's why a lot of people quit. One reason for using the stitch markers is to remind you of where it is. When you get in a rhythm and you're comfortable, you will realize that you no longer need the stitch counter. And when you have, don't use them. Just leave it where it is. It's not hurting anything. All right, 1, 2, turn, double crochet right back in, and every couple rows count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whoops, 9, 10. Depending on if you're right-handed or left-handed, your stitches are going to lean, and that's okay. You can't help it. It will, and they won't line 100% up over top of each other, but alright. I'm hoping that you got the hang of it. I want to go ahead and teach you how to tie it off. And then on another video, we will do the single crochet border, because this one's getting kind of long. So I'm going to pause it. Let's do 3 more rows, and then we're actually going to cut this one off. Alright, I'm on my last row. Now, you don't have to stop. If you got a rhythm and you want to make a little scarf, keep going. Get back here at 16 minutes and 45 seconds, and we're going to finish the project together. Now, so I deliberately did not on the last stitch. Alright, you ready? To finish it, there's 2 different techniques. This one, do for a long time. When you're ready, you can do an invisible. This is the way to go. Alright, so you're going to go into a chain stitch. But you're going to pull your loop. Give yourself 3-4 inches. Take your scissors. Ooh. Alright. Give it a little tug. There's your finishing knot. Now, and that's the gist. I'll come right back and we'll do a video of tying these in and doing a border.